All right, welcome to everybody out there listening to this podcast, Mastering the Numbers. I am Joe Mallo with Elite Edge Consulting Group. We're powered by Focal Point Business and Executive Coaching. My guest today is Randy Gerber. He's the founder and advisor at Gerber LLC. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about Gerber LLC.
So Gerber LLC, as it is today, is a business advisory and consulting firm exclusively for first-generation entrepreneurs. I started my business as a general financial planner, general financial advisor to anybody and everybody back in 1990. And I realized around 2000, 2001 that I didn't want to work for just anybody. And the epiphany hit me in 2003 that I wanted to work exclusively with first-generation entrepreneurs. And as I started articulating that to people, they thought I was sufficiently crazy and lost my mind, so I knew it was on to a good idea. And so, once I accepted that was the path we're going to go down, a couple of things happened. We had to politely, professionally move a bunch of clients off our books who were never going to be first-generation entrepreneurs. And we did that. It took us about 4 years to do it overall. And then the second thing, which was probably the most important and hardest, was that, if you believe that the best investment an entrepreneur has is their business, then we need to become skilled at helping them grow their business. And how to monetize it. And so, back in 03, 04, 05, Google was around, but it wasn't much of a thing. So the research behind this, we had to do all on our own and figure it out. And as time's gone on, we still, of course, do all the wealth management for our clients and do all the investment management. But it really is, we look at their business as part of their portfolio and help them really grow and monetize it. And that's where we are today.
Okay. So unlike most financial advisors, you took that business even further.
Yeah, I think that some advisors have great niches, whatever they may be, and we really created a niche that arguably didn't exist at the time. I don't know of any other, many firms at least, that are out there who work exclusively with first-generation entrepreneurs. Everybody said they focus on it, but I don't think anybody's exclusive, or very few are exclusive like we are. And it's become fun. The sad story, the primary reason why I made the change was because entrepreneurs are simply more fun to hang out with than other people. And fun's a real important part of my life, and I love doing it, and having fun, and that was an easy life transition.
Great. In the 27, almost 28 years that I've been in the financial service industry, I honestly haven't talked to anybody that's had that specific niche either. So, but you didn't stop there. Before we got on the podcast, you were telling me that you also have another organization that you've built also.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Gerber, our average size business is probably about $90 million of sales. Average client age is 52. That hasn't been the case forever. Our business has grown quite a bit, and our clients have grown too. And I saw a need to really help people who are trying to pass startup, but in that emerging stage. And so we developed a business called Founder Farm that is for, again, first-generation entrepreneurs. And it's for businesses from $300,000 of sales, maybe $200,000 of sales, up to a couple $1 million. And it's an online community where we have all of our how-to content, and we have thought-provoking questions, and we're going to build a data corner on it. But what we're really doing, and there's no conversation, no discussions on investments, no discussions on financial planning, nothing like that at all, is a truly online peer-to-peer community where it's entrepreneurs helping other entrepreneurs. So you have to be accepted to join. And so the way it works is we have our content, every Monday we put out what are your goals for the week, and people respond what their goals are. We have a community manager who manages the community. And then we have weekly office hours where people can Zoom in, ask any question they want. We'll help answer the question. And every month we have a guest first generation entrepreneur speaker who's been successful, and people can listen to that as well too. And then the real cool thing is that somebody says, hey, I'm thinking about hiring a controller at a time. So we'll say, oh, hey, Ben, you just hired a controller. What was your experience? Can you tell Amy? So we get the communications going peer to peer. So we just launched it February 13th. We have our first cohort filled. Our website, actually, it's not quite done yet, but it will be founderfarm.com. And we're launching it next month. And we're going to start accepting our second cohort. And we charge $599 per quarter, so almost $600 per quarter, $200 a month to be a member of it.
Great.
But I'm super excited. This is really, there's really no great resources for businesses that size to really figure out how to grow, avoid certain mistakes. Being a first generation entrepreneur is a very, very lonely place. And so this is a place where people are just like you. We make sure that's the case. That it's, there's only first generation entrepreneurs on the platform. And so you're helping each other. We're all going through this together.
Yeah, that's great. As a first generation entrepreneur myself, there's challenges. Sometimes it does get lonely. So,
and that's the thing I've realized over time. I kind of don't care what your business is, and we all have the same problems. You go through that same journey when you're going from $300,000 of sales to $600,000 to $1 million. Then all of a sudden you get to $3 million of gross profit, and that's when you can afford to have a leadership team. And then, how do you finance the next stage of growth? I mean, we all have the same issues. People, it's the same thing, just different businesses. I mean, there's a little difference between service and manufacturing, maybe distribution. But we don't do many. We have some healthcare clients, but not a ton. But we're all on a difficult journey together.
Yeah. What have been some of the biggest challenges, either from Gerber or Founder Farm? What have been some of the biggest challenges you've run into?
Yeah, Founder Farm's too new to really comment on it. I'm still very much in that honeymoon phase with it, where everything's awesome. But for Gerber, the biggest challenges, and it's so cliche, and today our biggest challenges remain people issues, and it's really making sure you get the right people in the right seats on the bus. And the good news is in 2024. There are so many more tools out there to help you identify the right people, and then also what are the seats you need. It's not quote unquote easy, but it's less of a mystery. And so, but getting the right people, the right seats, and the other piece of it too that's changed is, or not changed, but difficult is, our business is different today than it was 20 years ago. So at different times, we had the right people at $1 million of sales, but they're the different people at $4 million of sales, different than $10 million of sales,
right.
Our revenue. And so, keep upgrading, keep making the culture a desirable place and having the right people. And also, not that we're perfect with this, but we've tried over the years to have a good alumni association. So when you leave here, you feel good about the time you were here, and it's a good experience.
Yeah.
It's just hard, still hard.
Yeah. I would say with all my consulting clients, people issues are a top 3.
Yeah.
Every time we address it. So with starting up a business, what are some common misconceptions that are out there about starting your own business, and how do you address them?
Yeah. I mean, one of the misconceptions that how much flexibility and freedom you have, because you can show up at your kid's event at 2:00, but there's a consequence to that, and so it's always a 24/7 relationship in some respects, even if you're physically not here or not. So I think the second thing is just really how hard it is to, and I know one of the questions that you're going to ask me is about work-life balance. And, we don't believe in that at all. In fact, I wrote a book very accidentally about this very topic around the integrated entrepreneurs, they entitled it. And it's basically how entrepreneurs have to integrate their life together. So rather, because when you think about balance, right, I think that teeter-totter, something, it's very hard to get that perfect balance, right? Really, really hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, why bother? Just integrate the things in your life, integrate your family life with your business life, with your personal life, with your friend life. Get rid of all the crap, get rid of the things you don't like, get rid of the things that are negative. I mean, if you think of it this way, every single transaction in your life, every single interaction is either positive energy building or negative energy building. It's rarely ever just truly neutral, right? So, get rid of those things that are negative energy building and focus only on those things that are positive energy building. And entrepreneurs do have that flexibility to make that choice. Our first value we have here is be present, be positive. And I tell my team all the time, like, look, we're gonna have problems every single day. We're gonna challenge, like, you have a choice of how you get to manage it. You can manage it from a position of strength and positivity or a position of negativity. It's your choice. Now,
Sure.
those that manage it negatively don't end up working here very long. They're not part of our awesome alumni association necessarily, but you have a choice.
Yeah, I've certainly fought with work-life balance for many years. So it's hasn't been something that I've been great at great at dealing with. But yeah, you just make it work the best you can.
Yeah. The other misconception I would say in starting a business is people don't understand the significance of understanding the internal financials. It's really interesting how, and this is part of just the ecosystem for entrepreneurs. It's too bad, but everybody focuses on revenue, and I get it from the standpoint, you need to have revenue in order to have profit. But there's a saying that is not from me, but somebody else said, I stole it, is that, revenue is for vanity, profits for sanity. And I think that most entrepreneurs, particularly first generation entrepreneurs, really don't understand how important it is to understand the mechanics of your finances, mechanics of creating operating income leverage, the mechanics of, how do you finance organic growth? I think that there's just a lot of fundamental common sense people use, or lack thereof for that matter, but there's much more to it. And getting that assistance, and this is not an advertisement or pitch, it is what we see over and over again with people just don't understand how their internal finances work. And there's an enormous shortage, and we don't do that. We're not an outsourced CFO, but there's an enormous shortage, at least in Central Ohio, but I think in general, the Midwest at least, of really qualified, strategic CFOs. People think they have a CFO. No, you have a glorified bookkeeper. You might have a decent controller. Very few small companies are really getting that strategic financial advice to understand how to create enterprise value in your business, how to create operating income leverage in your business, how to really strategically grow revenue and finance that growth. And it's hard. It's not easy. Yeah. I don't care what your business is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good information to throw out there. So let's take it one step further. I mean, so the work-life balance is great information as well. Do you have any personal rituals or habits that keep you motivated and focused? Because you seem like a very motivated, focused guy in the very little time we spent together.
So at my current age of 55, I will say, I wish I would have realized this when I was 30, that stress is a silent killer. And so work hard to eliminate any source of stress in your life. Now, it's impossible to eliminate all, right? But, I have a pretty deliberate focus on stress elimination. Like this, I'm not going to let it, I'm not going to let it take me over. And part of that is sleeping. That you've got to get a good night's sleep every night. And 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I used to pride myself, I only need 4 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep. Baloney. You need to, in order to have that focus, to have that positive attitude, you have to be well rested, and exercise is included in that as well too. But sleep specifically is something that's just super critical, and it allows you to, and it is remarkable to me still this very day, how much entrepreneurs get done. Like this good entrepreneurs, the amount of stuff that they move through their system, whether it be personal, business, both, all the above, it's just remarkable. And that's the combination of being organized, focused, a great communicator. I think having the energy, which comes from sleep and exercise.
Yeah.
I sound like
You
my
know,
mom now, but I mean, she's right.
it's amazing how our parents were always right, weren't they?
Generally speaking, they're often right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I've been hearing more and more. You just the more you're out there researching about health, sleep just comes up more and more often.
Yep.
It's always there. So
I can tell you from firsthand experience that is when I really committed to get 8 hours of sleep at night. And you don't always do it, it doesn't always happen. But you got to work at it. You put yourself
yeah,
in a position to win, to get the sleep, properly get the sleep. And I feel better, and I feel like and I'm just happier, more positive, and just get more stuff done.
yeah, yeah. You have to force yourself to do it sometimes.
Yeah,
And then once you do it for a certain amount of time, just like working out, you do
yeah.
it for 30 days, and then just becomes a habit. And then
Oftentimes that's the
you get
case. That's right.
and then you get used to it. So and obviously, business is evolving. Your business is evolving. You started a new business. How do you stay adaptable in this
Yeah,
climate out here?
that's I think culturally, and my opinion and my experience with our over 200 clients is that those businesses that really embrace innovation, um, they have, embrace innovation, period, and they have the ability to plan strategically. Just in order, your strategy, you're going to have to adapt. You have to grow and change and learn because the world, business is changing very, very quickly. And I don't see that rate of change slowing down at all. Unfortunately, I think politics play a huge role in this, where depending upon who's in office dictates a little bit, even from a regulatory perspective for so many businesses, what you have to do. And that's, change forced upon you. And that's not changing either, I think, anytime soon.
Right.
So you just really have to have a culture of embracing innovation when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And that's a choice.
Yeah. Well, you either embrace innovation or you go out of business
Pretty much.
in a lot of instances. So we've seen it 100 times in the past.
Yeah.
So give us a glimpse of the future. I mean, do you see any major plans besides the fact that Founder Farm just started? So
Yeah, on the pharma side, we obviously the pandemic gave us an opportunity to learn how to get more clients remotely. And so our business has grown quite a bit remotely, which is interesting. And it's generally speaking positive. I think that the landscape to be an entrepreneur continues to be tricky and mysterious. And so I think for us, like, we're trying to dive deeper on innovation and dive deeper on those issues that our clients really need and or they need help with. And it's just a different world. And I think the workforce of 2030 will be a very different workforce than one of 2024. I mean, I think that you're gonna see most employees will have some type of gig economy relationship, no matter how loyal they are. They're gonna be, beaten in over time, the flexibility, additional income. They still want a regular job. They still want to have all the protection you get with a job. But they're gonna want more, and I think you're gonna see a higher percentage of people working the gig economy in addition to their job. I think the acquisition of talent will change a lot, where you're going to deliberately go acquire talent versus wait for it to come to you. So right now, the current um, process, you put out a job description, you wait for people to come to you. And I think that's going to get completely turned upside down at some point here in the future. You just have to keep moving with the times.
yeah, for sure. Well, the last question for you: what advice would you give an aspiring entrepreneur, or maybe somebody who's in their first or second year starting their
Yeah.
business that might be struggling a little bit?
Aside from joining Founder Farm, which clearly is is a big help, I would say, in the most polite, professional way, surround yourself with other entrepreneurs, other people who have been there, done that. In the book I wrote, I talk about the unintended naysayers, where people who love you and care about you, want you to win, but they don't understand entrepreneurs. I mean, if you are an entrepreneur, you have to keep in mind, you're in a rare air. I mean, there's very few people in this country who are truly 100% both feet in, dedicated to being an entrepreneur. And there's even fewer successful ones. And and that's, you know, it is what it is. But most people, the inverse of all this, most people aren't entrepreneurs. They don't have the fortitude. They don't have it's not in their personal makeup. And that's okay. That's not a negative reflection on those people. But when you're asking them for advice or they're giving us some advice, it's not going to be, it's not coming from a point of really understanding uncertainty and understanding volatility. I mean, I tell my clients all the time, you are comfortable living in the unknown, uncertain every single day. 99.9% of your employees are not. They want certainty. And so shame on you as an entrepreneur when you're asking that person who wants certainty for advice, you know? And so you got to surround yourself with people who are playing by the same playbook you are. Be careful you're not drinking each other's Kool-Aid only. But, you know, and that's why we started Founder Farm, frankly, for the very, very reason. But aside, founder farmer side, I would have given you that same answer a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you know, and that's in the book. I think it's chapter 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
You got to surround yourself with people who are like-minded and politely, professionally push the naysayers aside.
Yeah. So you've mentioned your book a couple of times. Would you like to promote it? Or at least put the name out there?
You know, if you're really bored and you have a difficult time sleeping, it's a great book to buy, but it's called The Integrated Entrepreneur. You can buy it on Amazon. I don't know what it costs anymore. Hopefully it's still above $10, but I know it's under 20. I get my check for, you know, $8 a month from them religiously. But it's actually a pretty decent book. It was not written to sell, candidly. I started writing it back in 2005 when I realized that it was hard to understand entrepreneurs. So we did a bunch of proprietary research and interviewed a whole bunch of entrepreneurs to get to the book. And so I put it in a book format because it just seemed familiar to me, but I never intended to publish it. Well, long story short, in 2015 and 16, we had some employees join us. Like, what's this? And it's a book. They pretty much forced me to publish it. So I think we finally published it in like 2021 or 2022. And I literally just started in 2005. So it was a great experience. I'm glad we did it. I think there's some valuable information. If you are a first generation entrepreneur, I will say read the book. It will really help you navigate critical relationships better, give you some perspective. And if you want to spend the 10 or 20 bucks, have at it.
All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate you being on the podcast today. How can anybody get a hold of you, either for Founder Farm or Gerber LLC? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
So our URL is for Gerber is Gerber Clarity, CLARITY.com. You can go there, you can reach me there. And then Founder Farm's coming. We have all the URLs now, and I know we're transitioning the existing website to this, so it should be up any day.
All right, great. Well, once we get everything posted, we'll make sure that we have both the websites on there so they can just click on it and go straight there. But once again, Randy, I really appreciate you spending some time with me. A lot of fantastic information. It was great talking to you.
You too. I appreciate it. These things are fun. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. All right, everybody. Thanks for being a part of Mastering the Numbers. Take care, and we'll catch you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks. Bye-bye.